Welcome to today's episode of Carlton Talks. Welcome to Jack, Eve, Bianca and Faith.
In the UK, there is no sexism anymore. Men and women are completely equal.
I disagree with that, personally, because I would argue that the UK is still quite a misogynistic society. Say, for example, women's football. We are sponsored by Tesco's, Morrison's, Aldi, all those small names that don't really get around much. Whereas men's football, they get sponsored by Nike, Adidas, all the big names that you hear everywhere you go. Also, to add to that, since the lack of recognition we get, it sort of encourages us to stay at home and not speak out for what we believe. Furthermore, with the recognition that we get, it's only shops and household items that we do, and cleaning products, making us feel like we need to stay in the kitchen, stay at home, not like work of what we, or not do what we are capable of.
Yeah, I also feel what you said about the brands and stuff, of how women get shops and stuff, and the men get like bigger brands like Nike and Adidas. But men also get betting clubs, which is like showing like a lack of responsibility and like immature, and they can't be trusted with money and stuff, and for to spend it all in one go.
Do you think there are certain expectations because of your gender?
Personally, I feel like girls are more expected to be soft, delicate, polite, whereas boys can be more rough and do contact sports, which I think is really unfair, because it's like, what if girls wanted to play rugby and like just go out without having to feel like they're going to get judged on what they wear?
I agree with you there. I feel like we get pressured to wear certain things. Say, as you were saying earlier about baggy clothes, and boys, they could go anywhere and wearing anything and not be judged at all. I feel like we are completely misunderstood due to what we look like.
Jack, would you say that's true? Would you say that it's more about girls having certain expectations, or would you feel like there are certain expectations for boys as well?
I'd say like boys are too fussed about like what they wear and stuff, but they do want to have big brands and stuff, so like they're not seemed as scruffy and like out of date, if you get what I mean.
Why do you think that is? Why are boys focused on certain brands?
So like you can fit in, sort of thing, so like not like the odd one out.
And if I could go back to you, Bianca, why do you think that wearing what you want, why would it be like problematic?
I feel like because like there's so much pressure on girls to dress a certain way and act a certain way, whereas boys, like if they wanted to go out in the most baggiest clothes ever, they could, and no one would say anything. And I feel like it's like that because that's just how society has been for ages, and no one's really saying anything about it because it's just been normalised at this point.
Why do you think it's been normalised? Why do you think it's like seen as ordinary to be judged on what you look like?
I'm not sure. I just feel like it's just an expectation all girls have, like to act a certain way, dress a certain way, and be a certain way. Because whatever we do, I feel like it's never really good enough. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah.
Have you ever been catcalled or been called a name because of your gender?
Personally, no, but I think girls in general, they do, and I think with earlier and younger generations, it will really like cause a change in their growth. Say like if we weren't brought up with that type of language, I think that we wouldn't be as immature as we are, and I think that if we didn't have it, we'd be a lot more confident.
If stereotypes and gender roles wasn't a thing, do you think you might act differently?
No, personally no, because I feel confident going out like in baggy clothing and no makeup and stuff like that. But I don't think I'd like change anything. But I think women in general would be more confident and speak out a bit more about what they want. And yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd feel like I'd be more comfortable, like, going out in baggy clothes and putting my hair in a messy bun without being judged, because then, like, I feel like my confidence will build up a lot more, and I won't have this constant fear of people judging me.
I feel like with boys, more boys would be comfortable doing dance and gymnastics and stuff without being scared of getting judged from their mates and being called gay and stuff for doing a girl's sport.
Why do you think boys say, oh, that's girly, to say it's like a bad thing?
Probably because, like, with misogyny and that, they think we're better and, like, stronger and stuff, and, like, women are, like, fragile and meant to wear makeup and not get mucky and do no contact sports and stuff.
I agree and disagree with you there, because I agree with you in the sense that boys see themselves as stronger and more superior, but I disagree with the point where it's like, I just feel like ballet or tap or gymnastics or just any form of girly sport, you can still get hurt as much as you can playing rugby or any contact sport. And you could even get hurt worse. But it's just since it's been seen as a feminine sport or a manly sport, it's been seen as it won't hurt as much.
Yeah.
What would you say to the opposite gender? What do you wish that they'd know?
If I were proper close with Jack, I would never want to have a thing with him, and that's what I feel like. We both need to know that just us being mates doesn't mean that we're together, because a lot of people go around saying that, oh, a boy and a girl are mates, which means they're dating, which I don't think is that fair.
Yeah.
Personally, I think when a boy calls a girl a name, we do take it seriously, and we do try to change ourselves to be a stereotypical girl.
Why do you try to change yourself and not just be you?
Because nobody wants to be called ugly or anything else.
How do you think the term ugly, how do you think it affects us as grown women?
It's just not a term that you'd want to put yourself as a label.
Do you think it depends on who you speak to, if you get called ugly or something?
Yeah, because I know a lot of girls that don't care about their appearance, but I also know a lot of girls that do.
Jack, if you were called ugly, would it have a really big impact on you?
Not really, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, then just walk off.
So why do you think, 'cause you've both mentioned feeling pressure about looks and being called ugly and things like that, where does that come from? Why do you think you are concerned about how you look, and particularly concerned about how you look in terms of the opinion of particular boys?
I just feel like we want to fit in to this generation, because right now there's so much high expectations for girls and also boys to act and behave. So we just want to have that sort of feeling that we know we have, we can fit in, and we don't just don't want to be the odd one out, if you know what I mean.
But why would it be the odd one out if you were seen as not looking good? Is that an expectation, do you think, for girls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Personally, going back to the question, I think that I'd want boys to know that you can cry. If you don't cry, if you don't show emotion, you're not seen as hard or tough. You're just seen as empty, almost. You don't have any emotion. Oh, no, I don't really like that. It doesn't... You can cry, you can show emotion. It's not a big deal. But also, to add on to that, if you cried out loud, do you think there are different ways that you'd be seen?
It depends who off. So, if it were one of your best mates, it'd be make sure you're alright. But say, I don't know, there's someone you know but you don't talk to that much, they might just ignore you and judge you a bit, but I don't think it's like that much anymore.
Well, if we're so bothered by this, why do we still have misogynistic views? Like, why is sexism still a thing?
Probably because so many people like want to end it, but it's only recently where like people have been fighting for it, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be that one group that thinks that they're better than everyone for some reason, but we just need to try make it as low as possible.
Well, what can we do to change misogyny?
Keep talking about it around schools and stuff, and try get like people to come into school that like know about it and like fight for like equal rights and stuff, to talk to people so everyone knows that, like, how serious it is.
I sort of agree and disagree with that, because talking about it is a good thing, but like people, you need to get people like excited to do this, because if you're just going to sit down and talk about it, no one will care. They'll probably forget it by the end of the day, and it will just, the way that life is right now, it will just keep carrying on.
Even if we did get loads of activities to stop it, there'd always be some people that just wouldn't care and wouldn't listen.
Yeah, like, it will never fully go, will it?
No.
It like, even a little bit, it will always be here.
Yeah.
It can't fully like disappear. It's been around for so long. Even if it's like 1% of the world knows it, that's still like a lot of people.
Yeah.
So the more that it comes around, the more that you hear about it, and you're like, oh, that's really popular. We need to say that more. We need to do that more. And I think the more popular we get to be like nice and be like polite and just like not be sexist or be misogynistic, it'll start to like dampen down.
Yeah.
But I think it'll never be gone, because there's always going to be that one person who does not believe or trust any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, back what Bianca said about how we need to take a big impact to change misogynistic views, because if we just talk about it, sit down, then it's not going to change, or it might change a few people, but it's not going to change everyone. And I think that's what the ultimate like goal is.
For example, this is like not off topic, but you have these people that are like, gravity exists. No, it doesn't. The earth is flat. No, it's not. There's loads of different things. There's loads of different rumours. No one's ever going to believe the same thing. No one's ever going to think it's going to, like, ever. Like, it's never going to leave. There's always going to be one person who thinks, yeah, I'm better than the women. Or the one woman going, yeah, I'm better than the men. There's always going to be one person doing that.
Do you think there are certain expectations of each gender?
Personally, I feel like women are seen as more polite, more delicate, whereas boys are more rough and can play more contact sports, which I think is totally unfair, because say if a girl wanted to go out in some baggy clothes, then she wouldn't be seen as equal to the lasses that try hard, whereas boys, if they wanted to go out in baggy clothes, it'd be perfectly fine and no one would really say anything.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why would it be like problematic?
Because I feel like if girls do try too hard and do give in to lads, I feel like they'd be called easy, but if they don't, then it would be completely different. They'd be boring. No one would really want to be in a relationship with them or even be mates with them because of them saying no, which is totally unfair.
I absolutely agree with you there. I don't have anything to add on. I just absolutely agree with you. And it's just what you say is it's so true. But like, Jack, do you feel like there's anything that happens like that with you that about like this?
No, I feel like with boys you don't really care as long as you've got like the right brands on. So like every week there's a new brand that's like going around, and it's like you've just got to try and keep up with it.
Do you feel like that expectation, though, is for impressing girls, or do you think it's to keep up with the standards set by other boys?
I think it's a bit to impress girls, but also just so like you look nice and so like you're keeping up with what it is.
Yeah. Bianca, going back to your point, you were saying that you can't wear baggy clothes, but then there's certain things that give off the wrong impression. Do you feel like there's any kind of medium that is that would be seen as perfect, or do you think it's either you are seen as not trying hard enough, or that you are seen as wearing something that is giving the wrong impression?
I feel like there's no in between in that. It's either you're trying too hard or you're not trying enough. Like, we'll never get to a point where boys see us as perfect or girls see boys as perfect. Like, that's just the way it is, and I feel like it's going to be like that for a really long time.
I feel like it's a rank. I mean, like, there's a try-hard who puts on makeup on and hair done, who don't mean to try hard, they just, like, want to look nice. They are to boys down there. Then we have the people who dress in baggy clothing with a messy bun in. They are also down there. And then we see people online wearing, like, these, like, natural makeup. The blah blah blah. What's natural makeup? Is your face not natural?
Exactly. It's just like, if you do wear makeup, it's like boys will think you've put loads on. But if you don't put any makeup on, it's like you
Try harder.
You try harder. You haven't tried at all. But then they complain that we're not naturally pretty, which I think is just absolutely pathetic.
What can we do to forget these misogynistic views?
Probably just keep talking about it in schools to try to reduce it as much as possible. But I think there's always going to be that like one group of people sort of thing that will always just think the same and think that they're better than other people and that they're superior and stuff when they're really not, and we're all just equal.
I do partly agree with you there, but I feel like even just talking about it, a lot of people are just going to forget it at the end of the day, and the world's going to keep going how it is going. And if you properly want to change, I feel like you're going to have to get people more excited about changing and not just sitting in a massive hall with 30 kids or 200 kids just talking, because they will get bored and they just won't care at all.
Yeah, I also feel like with boys and stuff, when we have banter with our mates about it, we need to like grow up sort of thing and tell them, no, that's just a bit harsh, you shouldn't say stuff like that, instead of letting it happen and then them thinking like it's all right to speak like that, and then it all just like repopulates again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll say it and then they'll be like, oh my gosh, why did you just say that to me?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this episode. Make sure to keep up with the next few episodes.